All right, let's talk about one of the most maddening problems you can face in business. How do you get out of that constant, soul-crushing race to the bottom on price?
Wow. I mean, that one hits home, right? It really captures that feeling for so many of us. You work your tail off, you deliver amazing value, but somehow the market always drags you back into a fight about who's cheapest. It feels like a game you're set up to lose.
I bet that sounds familiar, doesn't it? If you've ever lost a deal to a competitor who you know does worse work but just charges less, then you're in the right place. We're going to dig into why this happens and, more importantly, how to make it stop for good.
So first things first, we've got to understand what we're up against. And this enemy, well, it has a name. It's called the price trap. And it's a sneaky, powerful force that keeps really good businesses from thriving.
And this is the vicious cycle, right? You know the one. Your whole strategy is built around being better. You pour everything into better service, higher quality. You get incredible results for your clients. And then the prospect looks you in the eye and says, yeah, but the other guy is 20% cheaper. It is absolutely infuriating.
Okay, so why? Why does this keep happening? Let's get right to the heart of it, because it turns out that whole strategy of just being better, it has a huge, fundamental flaw.
And here it is. This is the absolute crux of the problem. The moment you say you're a better consultant, a better designer, or a better whatever, you are literally inviting people to compare you. You're putting yourself on the exact same shelf as everybody else, just hoping they notice your slightly shinier label.
And this is where things get really tricky. There's this massive gap in perception. In your head, you know you're 10 times better. You see it every day. But a buyer? They can't see all that behind-the-scenes magic. To them, you might look, maybe 20% better. And let's be honest, is a 20% improvement really worth a price that's 50% or even 100% higher? Rarely.
So that, right there, is the trap. When you compete on being better, you're still playing a game where price is the ultimate tiebreaker, and it's a game that is completely rigged against anyone trying to offer premium quality. Okay, but what if you could just stop playing that game altogether? This is the pivot. This is where we stop trying to be the best player in the game, and we start changing the rules of the game itself. You know the businesses that seem totally immune to this stuff? They're not just working harder or being a little bit better. Nope. They've made a deep, strategic shift that basically takes price right off the table. And here is the big shift. They stop playing the better game, and they start playing the different game. It's a total mindset change. They don't want to be compared. They want to be in a category all by themselves.
Think about that for a second. That's the feeling you want to give your customers. You're not just another choice on a long list of options. You are the solution. You're the answer to a problem they might not have even known could be solved in this new way. You become a category of one.
All right, so this all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in the real world? Let's look at a couple of super powerful examples.
Let's kick things off with a huge example pretty much everyone knows, Uber. Now, when they first showed up, they could have tried to just be a better taxi service, but they didn't do that.
You see the massive difference there? They didn't sell a better taxi. They sold a completely new experience. Your own private driver. You push a button on your phone, a car shows up, you get in, you get out, and no money ever changes hands. That isn't a taxi. That's a whole new category. And because it was so different, comparing its price to a regular cab fare just felt kind of pointless.
Okay, I can hear you now. That's great for a giant tech company with billions in funding. But what about a normal business like mine? Well, guess what? This strategy works in any industry. Let's talk about a client who was a high-end dental implant specialist.
So this guy, he was completely stuck in that price trap we talked about. He was always trying to justify his higher fees by talking about his fancy technology and his special training. And it just wasn't landing. So we made a switch. We stopped selling the process, the dental work, and started selling the outcome. The ability to eat a steak again without pain, the confidence to smile in family photos. We started selling getting your life back. And the result? It was incredible. Price objections just vanished. Zero. Gone. Why? Because you can't put a price tag on getting your life back. You can't compare that to another dentist's quote for a piece of titanium. He was no longer competing with other dentists. He was competing with the daily pain his clients were living in. And suddenly, against that pain, a $30,000 investment started to look like an absolute bargain. So the big question is, how do you do this for your business?
How do you go from being just another option on the list to becoming the only real choice? Well, it doesn't start with changing what you sell. It starts with changing the questions you ask yourself.
Listen, this is probably the most important thing you'll hear today. The problem isn't your market. It's not your competitors. It's your positioning. If you're feeling stuck in that price war, it's almost certainly because you're still playing the better game. But the amazing news is you have the power to just pick up your pieces and move to a whole new game board.
And let me tell you, the second you really commit to finding what makes you different, everything changes. Suddenly, your marketing has a unique voice that just pulls people in. Prospects start showing up already sold on you. Your close rate skyrockets, and your profit margins can finally start to reflect the incredible value you actually provide.
That's the end game here. That's the whole point. To position what you do so uniquely that for your perfect customer, you are the only logical choice. Everyone else just becomes background noise, totally irrelevant.
So I'm going to leave you with a question to really chew on. It's time to stop asking, how can I be better than my competition? And start asking a much more powerful question. How can I become the only one who does what I do? What new category can you create? What unique problem can you solve in a way no one else can? Because that question, that's where the magic happens.